Bitter melon is the kind of food that divides people instantly. Some wrinkle their noses at the first taste, while others embrace its sharp bitterness as a badge of health. But no matter where you fall on the flavor spectrum, there's no denying that this odd-looking, wrinkled green fruit is one of nature's most powerful allies against rising blood sugar. Scientists have discovered that bitter melon contains unique compounds such as charantin, lysine, and polypeptide P, which have insulin-like effects. These compounds don't just sit around looking impressive on paper. They actually help glucose move from the bloodstream into the cells, much like insulin does. In other words, bitter melon doesn't just talk about balance. It steps in like a stern but fair guardian, corralling excess sugar and escorting it to where it belongs. If cinnamon is the sweet negotiator in the world of anti-diabetic foods, bitter melon is the tough security guard, no nonsense, and unafraid to show sugar the exit. What makes bitter melon remarkable is the breadth of its impact. Beyond mimicking insulin, studies suggest it may stimulate the pancreas to release more natural insulin and even reduce the absorption of glucose from the intestines after meal. That means it works on multiple fronts. Less sugar gets into the bloodstream, more sugar gets used by the cells, and the body's own mechanisms of control are reinforced. Over time, this multi-pronged effect can reduce fasting blood glucose and improve hemoglobin A1C levels, which are markers of long-term sugar control. It's almost as if bitter melon runs a sugar policing agency. It prevents smuggling at the intestinal border, keeps order in the bloodstream, and motivates the pancreas, like a firm coach demanding its best performance. Of course, the challenge is taste. Bitter melon doesn't hide what it is. It's unapologetically bitter, sometimes even intimidating to newcomers. Yet there is a kind of charm in this bitterness if you give it a chance. Cultures in Asia, Africa, and the Caribbean have long embraced it, not only as food but as medicine. In India, it is sautéed with spices, stuffed with savory fillings, or cooked into curries where the bitterness mellows and blends with the warmth of cumin, coriander, and turmeric. In China, it often appears in stir-fries with garlic and black bean sauce, where the sharp flavor balances the richness of meats or tofu. In the Philippines, bitter melon is paired with scrambled eggs, turning breakfast into both a meal and a therapy session for blood sugar. The trick is to pair its bitterness with bold companions, garlic, onions, tomatoes, or chilies, that tame its edge and make it not only tolerable but enjoyable. For people who prefer not to eat it as a vegetable, bitter melon juice is another option, though it takes bravery to sip. The taste can be intense, but blending it with apple, cucumber, or lemon makes it far more palatable while preserving its medicinal kick. A shot of this juice in the morning can become a ritual for those who want a potent, fast-acting dose of natural sugar control. For the less adventurous, bitter melon supplements are widely available, offering the benefits without the taste, though many traditional practitioners would argue that consuming it as food, with all its synergistic compounds, provides the most holistic effect. Interestingly, bitter melon doesn't stop at blood sugar. It also appears to support weight management, lipid control, and even immune strength. Since obesity and cholesterol issues often accompany diabetes, bitter melon provides a double or triple defense, almost like a multi-tool for metabolic health. It's as if this wrinkled green fruit looked at the modern human condition, overeating, sugar overload, sedentary lifestyles, and decided to roll up its sleeves, ready to enforce order. It may not come wrapped in sweetness, but its stern character is precisely what makes it effective. When thought about creatively, bitter melon can even be turned into an enjoyable part of life. Imagine a weekly bitter food challenge, where families experiment with recipes that include this powerful vegetable, gradually training taste buds to accept its assertive personality. Or think of it as a culinary dare. The more bitter you can handle, the more resilient and disciplined you feel, both mentally and physically. There is a strange joy in mastering foods that once seemed impossible, and bitter melon, with its clear health rewards, makes the challenge worthwhile. The secret, then, is to see bitter melon not as a punishment, but as a protector, a slightly grumpy but dependable friend who insists on keeping you safe, even if it complains loudly along the way. Where sugar tries to run wild, bitter melon steps in with a firm hand, guiding balance back into place. By learning to welcome this blood sugar enforcer into the kitchen, we don't just eat a vegetable. We invite a guardian into our lives, one that works tirelessly, one bite at a time, to keep health on track.